All right, so without a further ado, let's keep it going. We have Verinovi. Verinovi uses AI to analyze how organizations communicate and use space. Their insights help companies cut real estate costs, boost collaboration, and improve productivity. To present Verinovi, we have Peter. Peter, over to you.
Good morning, and thanks for rejoining the meeting. And I'm here to tell you the Verinovi story. We are completely focused on the enterprise organizational effectiveness space. What does that really mean in today's world? In the last few weeks, especially everybody in Canada has heard all sorts of things about the Ontario government and the federal government forcing employees back to the office full time, so 5 days a week. What's that mean in the bigger landscape of things? The reality is that it's only about a third of organizations that are forcing organizations or their people back to the office 5 days a week. The other 2/3 are practicing some sort of flexible work model, also known as hybrid, and that's really the space that we're focused on in terms of how do we actually improve that. So what does that mean? The challenge is how much office space do they need? Everybody's worried about commute times and office space downtown. What should that space look like? How should it be designed? And ultimately, who should share the space with whom? So we did work before COVID in another entity where we measured 50,000 people and we looked at the impact of sharing space with others. Putting the right people together had impacts of increasing the connectedness between the people of up to 35%. So how big is this problem? In North America, we've got over 100 million knowledge workers. So that's really what we're focused on. We're not looking at service organizations. We're not looking at production. We're looking at office workers. If we say the opportunity is $1 to $5 per month, then that turns into $100 million business opportunity for us. So we're very excited to see in terms of where we can go with that. So if we look at it, the elements, we're starting really with the office and the work environment and the workplace strategy of working from home in terms of how people collaborate. We have a roadmap that will take us into leadership development and also even merger integration. But these are really the four components that contribute to it. It's the office design and the space that's needed. It's the adjacencies, so who shares space with whom. Workplace strategy in terms of how often people come to the office, and ultimately it's the future of work. So the future of work is really about the skill sets of working remotely, and the fact that we did this for 5 years during COVID doesn't mean we're good at it. We can actually measure it. People have always said collaboration is a soft and squishy thing. We've actually taken it to the point where we can look at it from a data perspective at the interactions between the people. So our proposition is that we can give you insights in terms of how people or we can measure and track the changes in collaboration, the space effectiveness, how well teams are doing, and ultimately the sentiment. Sentiment is becoming increasingly important. If you look at the latest studies from Gallup worldwide, we're seeing steady decreases in employee engagement, which is very concerning. And we believe that sentiment will be a very important component in terms of taking a look to see what can be done about that. We use AI and ML, and we apply that to organizational data. So communication streams and metadata sets from a number of different applications. It's all GDPR and AI EU compliant, so also the North American ones, but those are the bars that have been set from a privacy and a confidentiality perspective. We're working together with Snowflake, and companies are comfortable putting their data in the Snowflake environment. We're developing our model into an application that would be loaded to the Snowflake marketplace. The client downloads the application, runs it against their data in their environment, and only sentiment scores and metadata comes out to us. So we never get access or viewing capabilities on any of their communications, which is critical in today's world. So the last 6 months, we've really been focused on developing product and getting to market. So this press release actually went out yesterday. And we've got what we call the Adjacency Intelligence Suite, which is 3 products. It is an audit product, so organizations can actually see how well their teams are situated in their buildings and how well they're communicating with other ones. It's an optimizer, and the optimizer is actually an interactive tool where organizations can test scenarios. So this group doesn't get particularly value from sharing space with the other people. Let's drag it to another floor and it will actually recalculate to see where it goes. The adjacency plus model is actually, it uses presence data. So we can start looking and showing clients what the impact is of having people at the office at the same time. Everybody has been complaining from, I do come to the office, the people that I'm working with aren't actually there, and I spend my time at the office on web conferences. So that's not where we want to go. We also, during the fall of last year, got data sets from 40 different teams where we have both meeting recordings and messaging. So the idea is that over a period of time, we can track what the mix of emotions are with the team. Again, we're not looking at individuals, we're looking at what's happening from the team. I spent years working for Honeywell and Siemens in global responsibilities. And I always said, if half the people on your team are angry and frustrated as an organization, you've got a huge problem. So this is a way of actually getting our finger on the pulse of what's happening from an emotion perspective. And this is be all new, and that product won't be released until later this year. There's lots of people playing in this space, applications that are going after specific pieces. So HQO is very advanced in questionnaire-based testing organizations. Viopta looks specifically at the web conferencing and web conference rooms and the utilization. Qualtrics also. So we have an offering and a roadmap that will take us into a very complete offering, and it's relatively low in the complexity in terms of how to implement it, where we go. We did some real important work in terms of trying to get some non-dilutive funding in place. We've got an application in for a Canot Fund, so hope to hear in the next month or so. We've already received a first MyTax module, and we've got an extension of that first one and 2 more modules in application. We're going to be looking at submitting a Derek Rossi Innovation Award application in February, or in March, actually, it takes place. We can also access some AWS and Snowflake credits for it. And then we're launching a research project together with the University of Toronto, 4 different professors. And the goal is really to look at what can be learned, what happened to these organizations during the course of COVID, to see what happens. We've got our first money in the bank from TIAP, which is very important for us. We're looking now with the new product launch to develop our first revenue by the summertime. So we're looking at probably $200,000 to $300,000 of revenue by then. And then around that period of time, we also looking to raise $200,000 to $300,000. Ultimately, the end of the year would put us in a position to do our seed round. The team consists of 2 former students of mine. One is just completing her MBA at Rotman and has a strong bent for analytics. Harim has also been working with AI since it's been released. I have a background in global with Honeywell and Siemens and have a lot of deep process experience. I also teach a course called Remote Work, Technology and Collaboration at University of Toronto, and I'm also, one of my favorite classes is actually one in entrepreneurship. So a very exciting story. We're launching the product, looking to get revenue in the next few months, and we'd be more than happy to speak with you and tell you more about what we're doing. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Peter. Maybe to kick it off, we'll wait for some questions in the chat. But in the meantime, I have a question for you here around confidentiality and privacy. If you can talk a little bit about how you guys protect that, care for it for your clients.
So in a previous entity, which we've transferred the AI or the intellectual property into Verinovi. Before COVID, we wrestled with companies to get just metadata and de-identified the metadata. In today's world, if we want to look at communications content, everybody's super, super, super careful. And this is the scenario that I mentioned before, is the relationship and the partnership with Snowflake. And from what we can see, this would also work in Databricks environment, where the clients are now comfortable having their data in the Snowflake or the Databricks environment. It would be our app that runs against their data in the Snowflake and Databricks environment, and only metadata and sentiment scores come on a team basis to us. So this is really a way to assure everybody. And since we did that work, companies have gained more confidence in terms of the managing and de-identifying data. and they're also recognizing the value that can come from the data.
That's great. If you want to get in touch with Peter, the contact information is on the screen, and the email, you can message him directly, or you can reach out to the UTest team in order for warm introductions and connections. Peter, thank you so much for the presentation.
Okay, thank you.